on comic.playoverwatch.com, and yeah, let us know, I guess, what you think of that comic. All right, let's jump into, I guess, esports news. We're gonna get into a discussion just to end the show with just event oversaturation. But before we do that, why don't we talk about just some of the events? The Atlantic Showdown, ESL Atlantic Showdown. To be honest, I didn't catch much of it this week, and I'll just be honest. I don't really think this is a good idea showing all these qualifiers. I mean, it's kind of good, I guess, to see the smaller teams and whatnot, but it's just, I don't know. There's just not much hype in it. It's not interesting
to pay attention to, though.
Yeah, it's just kind of
like I'm okay with an offline, not stream a qualifier for something like this where there's so many qualifiers.
For sure.
Like, I understand they want to be like, okay, there's value in streaming a, C9 versus Envious game or LG versus C9 or whatever. Like, there's definitely value in that streaming numbers wise, but at the same time, it's like things just feel like there's a lot to watch and a lot to like keep track of.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I think we're luckily in this position where the game's still so new, still so fresh, especially now with new balance changes, all that. Like, people just want to watch as much as they can. So I personally don't feel that we've hit that saturation point yet. But we do run the real risk of completely cheapening a Cloud9 versus Envious, or Reunited versus Rogue, or even the cross-Atlantic play. We run the risk of making these matches just feel ordinary and regular and an everyday thing, which is kind of one of the problems that we saw with many other esports titles. In fact, the first CSGO major in 2 years to go down in viewership was the most recent major. It actually went down kind of significantly, even with Team Liquid making it all the way to the finals. So I think it's starting to happen in CSGO as well, with just... there's just so many tournaments all the time that all of a sudden these matches that were once highly coveted, very special treats, are not so special anymore. Like I said, I don't think we're there yet. I think the game is so young, so new, that people just want to watch as much as they can, and maybe it's a good thing that they can watch high-level competitive Overwatch like 5, 6, 7 days a week. But yeah, I mean, we do run that risk, man.
Yeah, maybe we're not quite there, but we're pretty dang close to being there because, seeing Envious win, just like we just see Envious win every single one of these tournaments, and
just all the time.
Yeah, I mean, a storyline, so at the end of the week, the storyline is Envious is still the dominant team, and that's still there for us, like us as people on a podcast and just the general community, and it's great, and that's awesome, but just having like the Beat Invitational versus iBuyPower versus the Acer tournament, it's just none of these tournaments mean anything to me. And if you were, I mean, they're great, the organizations are great, but it just in terms of just the wins and stuff, I mean, there needs to be some kind of, I don't know, ladders and point system, something where like it'd be okay to have this thing.
It hit me really hard the weekend that we had Onog and Josh OG.
Yeah, that was
at the same time.
Right.
Like, it was literally morning was Josh OG, teams had break for a few hours, and then it was Onog.
It was the same teams, like literally the same teams. So,
yep.
Yeah, I hope we don't get to that. I mean, I hope we don't get to the point where these wins are cheapened or just feel that way. And
I want to feel
Blizzard
excited
takes
when I watch a game.
Yeah,
I want to be like, oh my god, Envious versus whoever. Like, I want to feel like that's a special thing. Mm-hmm. And right now, it's like there's been a pretty like decent sized tournament every single weekend for the past I don't know 3 months. Like,
there needs to be build up. We talked about Cloud9 not getting a chance to practice. When they were kind of in that dominant phase, and then a lot of things changed, and then now we see Cloud9 at the top spot. But they went through that phase where they're just playing events and not practicing. Like, we want to see periods of time where they're practicing and building up, and whether it's the underdog trying to like knock off the top dog and things like that, it's going to work out a lot better. And the reason I think it's worth talking about is just so Blizzard still hasn't announced their esports plans quite yet, and that's something that they should take a look at. Just maybe having the majors type of like model versus whether to have the league model, and that sort of thing. They just have to make events, these one-time events,
a league thing is a little bit different than like what's currently happening. though.
Yeah,
Like
for
what's
sure.
currently happening
is
is just random tournaments every single weekend. Like a league thing similar to LCS is more of a like scheduled event where it's not just like a winner takes all that weekend. It's a like ladder kind of system or like a point
Well,
system
what's happening
where
right
every
now
game
is
matters.
very similar to you just I don't know, throw out just a sports analogy. It'd be like tennis or golf, right? Nobody knows anything about these weekly tournaments that all these players play, but they only know about the majors, right? But these golf, they make a living. They make these paychecks by playing these other sponsored events, and they're sponsored by big companies. I mean, they're not small events by any means, but nobody knows about them for the most part, unless you're a huge golf fan. That's kind of what I think will happen, with some of these eventually. But we have to make sure that we do have these major tournaments to talk about. And, Josh OG, as much as I love the dude too, I mean, Josh OG should not be like a major tournament. That's not, it just happens to be, it's the largest prize pool to date.
And again, guys, once Blizzard announces whatever they're going to announce, or people host larger tournaments, you're not going to see Envious in a weekly for $2,000. You're just not going to see that at that point. It's not worth them giving away their strategies and spending their time doing it once we have $1 million in a circuit or whatever it ends up being. So, all this will be solidified and changed quite a lot once anyone announces anything major. And that's going to happen for sure.
Well, it also makes a huge impact on the teams too. Like the more time that they have to spend in tournaments is less time that they have to be, figuring out meta theory crafting things, like trying to come up with new things that they wouldn't really have time to do otherwise. So I think, not having a huge event every single weekend will
get some
also
time.
have
And it would just make us
more
more hungry. Make us as spectators just more hungry too. It's like, oh gosh, when's the next event? I really want to see it. And then whenever the event does happen, it's going to be some serious hype for it. But anyways, getting back to these events we didn't get a chance to talk about. Envious, of course, won both the Beat Invitational and iBuyPower. But they faced different finalists in both of them. Code 7 still continuing, their hot streak from last week, making the finals of the Beat tournament, but losing 3-0 still to Envious. So Envious still has their number. But Cloud9 got back into the finals of the iBuyPower, and it was starting to look a little bit more like Cloud9, just able to just beat Code 7, I believe, in the semis, right, and get to the finals. So hopefully Cloud9's starting to figure some things out, and just getting that 2 spot. That 2 spot is basically what's being fought for at this point. Envious comfortably at the top right now. I haven't even seen them come close to losing anything in weeks now. So
months, dude.
Months, actually, months, not weeks. Months, at this point.
But again, I think we can just talk about Envious winning everything every week.
Yeah,
I think the additional storylines to cherry pick are like Code 7 beat Cloud9 again. But at least Cloud9 had 1 win against Code 7 this weekend, so they didn't get beaten twice. So, but for me, this has really solidified Code 7 as potentially the number 2 team in the world. And I think there's also another kind of interesting storyline bubbling up, which is, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, North America is looking much stronger than Europe right now. Like, Envious, I really think 1, 2, 3 is Envious, Code 7, Cloud9. And I'm Rogue, Reunited, all these teams out of Europe, they're still incredible teams. And on any given day, they can probably take a win against Cloud9 or Code 7, probably. But it still seems like right now the top 3 in the planet are all North American based. And I'm going out a little bit on a limb. Of course, we're going to have to wait until there's actually a LAN tournament. But the results are starting to speak for themselves, in my opinion. And I think it's very much the case that North America is looking a lot stronger. And another thing I was just looking at on Gosu Gamers is the North American weeklies are having twice as many signups. Like, what is going on? I've never seen this in my whole FPS career. I've been playing FPS games forever. I've never seen North America have a stronger, larger, more vibrant scene than Europe. Like, that's just weird to me.
My favorite thing, I think, it happened last week or the week before, was Hastro, owner of Envious, tweeted out and said, how do you beat Twitch chat trolls? You take 4 of the best EU players and you put them in a team house with one of the best NA players. I was like, that's the best tweet I've seen in a really long time. Just super funny. But that, I mean, that's definitely something to be said, right? Like, IDQD was a Euro team that was the most dominant team for their time, like the time that they were together. And that was, you know, a Euro team, and they kind of dominated. So now that
team is basically envious.
Yeah,
exactly. Four of
exactly.
those people are now in NA, and now NA is like totally dominating. So
Yeah, I mean, I think NA teams doing well helps, you know, teams signing up for these events too, you know, getting motivated. And that's always been true in esports. Whenever you see somebody that, you know, you can relate to or you've rooted for and they're doing well, it inspires you. Whether it's, again, it's StarCraft or it's, you know, I mean, League of Legends, I don't know so much about League of Legends, but, you know, CSGO and definitely other games like that. It has a lot to do with seeing these teams be successful. And you know, we saw the opposite, right, then in StarCraft. You know, once the Koreans came and just dominated everything, and there was literally no place that you know, North Americans, to some extent Europeans too, could, you know, go and have like just a region lock tournament. We saw like a lot of the interest, at least the player pool, just drop down by a ton, you know, pro player pool, and that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. Anyway, go North America.
Yeah, go North America.
I'll be proud and happy for my my hometown for once. Only this and L.I. Joe, man.
L.I. Joe, man.
Actually, Team Liquid. I take it back. Team Liquid are the most recent CS:GO major, but.
Oh, true. Yeah, Team Liquid and Overwatch. I mean, they had that one tournament, but they just they had a good showing in that one tournament. But since then, yeah, not so much. Yeah. Anyways, let's see. Anything else here? I guess it's a good time to do a shout out to the iTunes folks. Those of you that are listening on iTunes or listening to audio versions on Google Podcast too. Feel free to leave a 5-star review. It really helps out the show a lot. I want to give a shout out to CJ4290 for leaving the last 5-star review and just saying how much he enjoys the show. Really, really appreciate that. Why don't we take a few questions, quick Q&A before we end the show. You can type out your questions in chat. It's probably the easiest way to do it today. No need for Twitter or anything like that. What is iTunes? Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I haven't used that program in so long.
iTunes, really?
I mean, I hate it. It's awful.
Yeah,
anyway.
I know, right? But you can find it on the store, is what I mean. It's the store. Let's see.
Wait, I have a question.
Okay, sure.
As we're waiting for them to come into chat. I was reading through the Reddit thread that you linked about the time where all the devs and Jeff Kaplan were playing with Stir.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one note there where, and Jeff has said this on the forums, I think, on and other places, that they're getting rid of the coin flip mechanic for payload.
Mm-hmm.
Does this just mean that we're going to eventually have time bank for payload, or are they going to go full stopwatch? Like, have they said anything? Have they given any details?
Didn't they straight up say we were getting time bank season 2 for everything?
I haven't.
They
seen
alluded
that
to that. I don't know if they've said it definitively, but they definitely coin flip gone. And time bank is what they've alluded to using as as a method of doing it, which is kind of stopwatches. It's not stopwatches, so it's
close enough.
Yeah. It makes the most sense given that they're using it already in different forms. Let me find the post. Okay, it looks like Xavia's finding it. Kiki's finding
Kiki
it right
for
now.
the win.
Exactly.
Thanks for watching, Kiki. Here's a question from the unicorn in your kitchen, and we're just going to direct this towards Shayed. Is Ana I think that was supposed to be, is Ana a beast, or is Ana the best, or whatever? Do you think she's, like, really good, or not?
I mean, I think she's really good. I don't think she takes the place of Lucio or Mercy, which is why, like I said earlier, I think we'll see a lot more, like, 3-4 support comps, because she's really strong. And her ult is totally fight changing. Like, team fights are completely and totally changed by Ana's ult. And I don't think that there's a situation where you can like swap her with somebody else that you would currently normally see. Like, you can't swap her for Mercy because you still need Mercy res. You can't swap her for Lucio because Lucio's speed boost is too good.
Mm-hmm.
So just add her in there with everyone else. And well, now Zen's really good too. So throw him in there too. She's really strong, especially the fact she kind of counters Zen, which is like super strange because they both just buff Zen. But if Zen ults his team,
Mhm.
and you throw her heal stopper
Oh
on top
gosh.
of Zen,
Yeah.
he can't heal.
Same for Lucio ult too,
Same
right?
thing, yeah.
You hear, let's drop and then you just throw the thing before he drops the beat. Like you're gonna have enough time to do that, definitely. It kind of reminds me of like a Mei able to just block like a barrage or something like that
Yeah.
with a mix on a 10-second cooldown. Yeah, she's gonna be able to negate a whole lot of ults. Which is gonna be ridiculous.
I can't wait to see some epic sleep hits. That's gonna be awesome. Where people
Man,
just
there is no better
dude.
feeling, especially right now where McCree just got buffed, and you just like you get so mad because McCree is so strong. You walk around a corner, boosting McCree, headshot, you're dead. You just die instantly in McCree all the time. There is no better feeling than watching him go, it's high noon, and then you just go, and he's
Dude, I'm gonna freak out when I cast that. Next time I cast and that happens, I'm just gonna lose my shit. It's gonna be great.
What sucks is whenever I cast it, I have this stupid Zen that's already shooting at the dude, and he like immediately wakes them up right after I put him to sleep. It's like, crap, man. Like, why'd you have to do that?
Dude, I was actually watching Chipsogen stream
Oh
some
god,
Ana
he's
gameplay the other day.
crazy.
Oh my god, that guy is good. It was
he's
I'm
gonna be the
surprised.
best Ana. Like
Yeah. Well, one thing he was
but
doing.
then there's that other problem, right?
He's
like,
in. He's the
Chipsigan
best.
is. I stand by my statement that I've made many, many times before. Chipsigan is the best player in this entire game, in this whole world right now. Like, it's Chips. His Zenyatta is unbelievable. He's the best Mercy that it plays competitively. Like, he just is.
Yeah.
And he's going to be the best Ana because he has FPS mechanics. He has insanely good, like, instincts. He's just amazing. I don't even know what to do. So then what do you do with, like, okay, so you have the best Zen, the best Mercy, and the best Ana all in one person. Well, what do you do to split up that role?
Time to start training Hulk to play one of those characters too.
One thing I saw him do, which, I mean, when you think about it, it's like, yeah, of course you'd use sleep in this way. But I hadn't, I just hadn't really seen it before. Because he's playing defense. I think it was on Gibraltar or something. I can't remember what map it was on. But basically, his whole team was holding in one defensive position. He flanked to one side, or like he was just coming from one side, and just hit somebody with sleep and walked back and joined his team. That
awesome.
Just means that person is out of the action for like 5 full seconds. It's 5 seconds, right? Forgetting now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I didn't say 5 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's just a fun way to see sleep being used. Like, just pop it and just forget about that person. Keep moving. There's no way that they're gonna get accidentally hit, especially if they're like, if you're with a good team or you do it when they're not with the rest of their team or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, and it makes a huge difference in worrying about, like, what if this, we team fight, but the Mercy's off hiding with her ult. Mercy comes swooping in to try and ult her team, and you're just like, pow, and Mercy's asleep on the ground. She can't ult her team, and then by the time she's up from the sleep, as long as nobody hits her, the respawn timers are up, and she can't res anybody.
And then you make it sound like it's just a routine play. That is such a hard play to hit like a Mercy that's swooping too. So I think it's going to be pretty awesome watching the pros make this, just make some amazing sleep plays. Okay, so another question.
Got a couple.
Yeah. Let's see. Tier Monster has a question. Do you see smaller tournament providers being successful with Overwatch, especially considering Gosu saturating the weekends, and since we don't know if there will be a point system or certified tournaments like the Hearthstone for BlizzCon?
I think we're kind of already starting to see Gosu tournaments.
Yeah.
Like, no, but they're like
the Gosu tournaments are the small tournaments.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Like the ESL cups that you can just randomly sign up for, they usually go for LOL or whatever. Like, that's Gosu Gamers for Overwatch, and that's what it should be. Gosu Gamers for Overwatch shouldn't be the top tier teams every single weekend. It should be the up and coming amateur teams. That's what it always should have been, and that's kind of what it's falling into now, and it should stay that way. So I honestly hope that the big teams stay out of those tournaments. I actually hope that we don't see Envious C9, Code 7, Liquid, LG in the Gosu Gamers weeklies anymore, because I think that should be a place where those amateur teams can have a chance to work on playing competitively. Maybe they don't get as many scrims as they would want to because they're amateur teams, and you know, like I think that should be where they can go to get in like practice and see how they really stand up against other teams.
Yeah. And
So,
go ahead, Ben.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think the thing that's gonna make these small tournaments successful has nothing to do with the big tournaments, in my opinion. It has everything to do with just how voracious the community is for playing in these things. And so far, we've seen that they are indeed very voracious. Again, the Gosu Gamer NA weeklies, at least, have been getting over 100 teams signing up every single week for just a $500 or $1,000 now. The EU ones are somewhere in the 45 to 50 range for every single one. There were several ESL Cups that got like 200 or 300 plus teams signing up for them. So I think that it's more just dependent on how big the casual competitive community is than what happens at the high tier. And I think it's going in the right direction. I think you're going to continue to see these smaller tournaments be a proving grounds for the up and coming teams. I think, Lynn, I think one of the things you're alluding to perhaps is like a lot of people play in these Gosu Gamers weeklies because the Gosu Gamers seeding points, the ranking points, are still used by a lot of the tournaments, including their own, to decide seeding. So a lot of the top teams are going to keep playing with them, I think, if they have the time and there are no other tournaments. At least I think they'll keep doing it almost just for the seeding, more than the money.
Yeah, and you bring something good. You bring up something really, really good too. Is that we do need an accepted ranking system in Overwatch,
and it should not be Gosu Gamers ranking system because that takes into account literally everything, and it's terrible.
Okay, well, honestly, if there's a ranking system that's at least in some people's minds already, it is Gosu. So I think maybe ideally Gosu would change it so that it is whatever ideal format that we want, but it doesn't have to be Gosu.
I mean,
we do need some kind of ranking system.
I'll never forget the time when Melty played in a tournament.
Yes.
Literally no other top tier teams there, and they got ranking points for it according to the Gosu Gamers website.
It's not perfect.
Get out! Don't do that.
It's not perfect. I mean, we would all agree with that, but from the standpoint of notoriety, just like what people know, the Gosu Gamer, ladder is the thing that people know. Or not ladder, but the ranking system is the thing that most people know in the community. So that's already a head start. Just getting people to accept a ladder is actually a challenge in the first place. So if they already have that, I mean, the good starting point is to try to modify that into something that will be accurate and will be something that all teams and players accept. But it's something that's very important, and it's something that's missing from things. Even like Hearthstone, Hearthstone has a ranking system that I think is in a similar spot with Overwatch. It's kind of determined. It has been modified and refined, but it's still just not something that I just everybody just goes to and talks about writing wise and writers and journalists and things like that. And it's really important for a competitive scene to have that because we want the storyline of who's the best in the world right now. Who's the best in the world this entire year? Like, I want to be able to say that, when I'm on a show like this talking about it or somebody writing it, and we need to get that and might as well do it early, when we are still getting, all the esports, just getting the esports team together. So hopefully we can work that out. And Blizzard, I think Blizzard should have a hand in figuring this out too. Their esports team. It's really, really important. One last thing about the whole small tournaments thing I'll say is that I feel like we're a little too in the whole professional esport tryhard mode. Tournaments can actually be fun too, guys. And I feel like nobody's tried the whole, tried to get some of these teams to play, more of a novelty tournament, like something that's just more fun, with different types of settings and rules like that. So I feel like there's some space for somebody to come up with something like that, whether it's, headshot only, whatever it is, there's still some space for people to try to do that. Obviously you'd have to do something to entice some of these bigger teams to participate in, but it could be something that's fun and we haven't seen yet. Okay, another question. Any questions here? Maybe one more question and we'll call it a night. See a good one, Ben?
I mean, yeah, there's one that I'm always okay with tackling. It's a very contentious topic. But I think it's better to take on head on than tiptoe around it. And not now. Kato asked earlier, There's been some more accusations directed at the Code 7 players. What can be done to curb hacking and aimbotting in tournaments? And does Blizz need to step up with their bans? Blah, blah, blah. And I think the general, we've said it before on the show, and I'm going to say it again. We can't really, internet detectives are not perfect. They're very biased. Things can look suspicious that because of spectator mode, they can look suspicious because it's in a GIF and not in game, and you don't have the same number of frames. I don't want to look at a GIF and make a verdict. There needs to be a lot more data than that, and it needs to come from Blizzard. Yes, we should stay active and stay vigilant as a community, but that doesn't mean we should start witch hunts.
But if there's information outside of GIFs, in the case of the TJO brothers or whatever you want to call them on Code 7, which there is in the case of Steam accounts that are their Steam accounts that are backbanned for cheating in multiple games. I would like a direct answer from Blizzard that, we have looked into these two players and they are not cheating. Because they, according to everything that I found, through everything that I've seen, have a history of that in other games and have been banned for it. So I would like to see proof that, Blizzard's like, hey, we looked into it and from our end, there's nothing to show that they are cheating.
Yeah, and God, man, I just I never know what to say in these situations, because if it does come out that they are cheating actively in Overwatch, that would be like the worst thing in the world. That would be so awful and so terrible, and I would just hate to see that happen. But I'm not convinced by anything I've seen yet, and I think it's really the wrong approach to just assume without having the knowledge, when ultimately it has to be Blizzard that passes down these verdicts, not us.
We need them looking for it is the issue, and we haven't heard anything necessarily that
Well, I don't think they're going to be super transparent about them investigating.
I think if it's a high profile thing like Code 7, then they should absolutely be upfront with the community about it, because this is a situation where people are cheering for this team, people are becoming fans, there's a growing fan base for them, and if this is an issue where it's going about it the wrong way, they're winning things in the wrong way, and we as a community have a right to know, I think, if they're actually cheating.
Yeah, and I'll just throw in, again, I guess kind of a different side of it. So historically, yes, I know they have a history of obviously in different and other games having been cheating or whatnot, but this is a new game. We don't know what they're like. This could be just a fresh start for them too. So, obviously, we should give them the benefit of the doubt as always. And as a community, again, it's Blizzard's job to do this. And yes, we should make this aware of it. There will be all these internet people, and Blizzard's always looking at Reddit. So they'll, leave it to those guys, I guess, to figure, just to make it aware, just make Blizzard aware. For us to talk about on here, there's no point in talking about it anymore, guys, because it's just what do you want us to say? I mean, we're not gonna, we don't know, so there's no reason for us to give an opinion that's not proof. There's no proof behind it. It'd be a different story if there was just some kind of like written proof that or just some kind of combo or something. There's not anything like that. So that's why Ben responded. I think Ben responded in a good way, and we're just not going to talk about accusations anymore, because there's no point. All right, hate having to end on that question.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry.
It's all good.
I mean, at least it'll be fresh in people's minds if anyone from Blizzard is watching and be like, oh yeah, they just talked about that. I should go check on that right now.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, why don't we call it, and we can get back to playing, because I definitely want to go play some. And I know, Ben, you either want to sleep or you want to play some, so why don't we do some shout-outs right now. Shayed, you want to start us off? Where can they find you and all your awesome channels?
Yeah, my stream is twitch.tv/Shayed_. I stream every day during the week from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. PST. And my Twitter is twitter.com/ShayedOW. So you can find me there, tweet random stuff and pictures of my new tattoos that I got last week.
Oh, I saw that. That's nice.
I was going to ask, yeah.
I love them. Well, this one right here is like super painful still and like really bruised and
Oh,
peeling.
how many
But
did you get? I thought you only got one.
I got two.
Two. Wow.
I got this one.
Were they
right here.
designed by, I guess, fans, or was it? Did you have did you hire a
No,
professional?
this one right here, this like right here, you can't see the whole thing right now, but
Yeah.
there's pictures on Twitter. That one I had designed a long time ago, and
Okay.
I tend to like pre-design my tattoos like years in advance and then get them slowly whenever I feel like it.
Nice.
So yeah, I love Alice in Wonderland. That's what this one is from, and this one is just a Latin word. So
Okay. Awesome. Well, I don't have any tattoos. I can
it's
say
like
the
my
same,
it's
but
like my fourth and fifth. So
you're the bad girl on the show. All right, Dan, you got any shout outs?
Yeah, Evo was awesome.
Yeah. Oh
Everyone
my
who
God.
watched
I'm
knows
jealous.
that.
I'm jealous.
I'm exhausted. I'm literally on day 2 of a hangover, that like compounded hangover from all of Evo. So I'm gonna pass out. I don't. But yeah, I'll see you guys online. Look for the tournaments this weekend. I'm gonna make my triumphant return to casting soon. It's been a really long time. I haven't casted anything. Since Agents Rising? Like, it's actually been like 2 months since I've casted anything, just because of all the crazy travel, and I took a vacation and I went to a wedding and blah blah blah. Anyway, long story short, I'm coming back, guys. I'm coming back real soon. So look out for more stuff on my end pretty shortly here.
Very awesome. And I'll just thank you guys for doing the show with me today. It's always a lot of fun. Everybody for watching and not watching the Republican National Convention. I appreciate you guys doing that, and just having fun with Overwatch. You can, let's see, what should I play? I never plug anything on this thing. You can find the VODs obviously on YouTube.com after the show, or /ChanManV after the show. Doing a Hearthstone podcast tomorrow. If you like Hearthstone, my podcast Value Town is tomorrow at 4, and debuting a new podcast I'm doing with Elohim and Eat My Diction Thursday, which is called Spoiler Alerts, and we'll be talking Game of Thrones for the first week, so that should be a lot of fun. You can check that out on Elohim's stream, twitch.tv/Elohim.
definitely come back next week for this show.
Oh,
because
yes.
there's gonna be a lot to talk
Yes.
about next week.
Yeah, I don't want to say like who the guest is and any of that, just because it's
All
not
right, now
confirmed
I'm out of the
yet.
loop.
But yeah,
Shit.
but it could be a very, 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 I don't want to say controversial show, or I don't know, lots to talk. Informative show. Yeah, informative show. We'll just put it that way. So yeah, definitely tune in next week. We'll probably do this time again. I don't know. Just be sure to follow the show's Twitter too, the twitter.com/theoverviewgg, to keep up to date with when the times will be for next week's show. But that's going to be it. Oh, for all the audio folks, definitely tune in. I'm going to try to have those ready for you guys by probably afternoon tomorrow. It always takes about 12 hours for the iTunes and Google Podcasts to update. So you can check that out on the feed too. Subscribe to that feed and all that good stuff. Until then, for Shayed, Fishstix, and myself, ChanManV.